Hare Krishna. Be faithful, but be watchful too. Sometimes people think that having faith is something which is unreasonable, which is done only in the religious circles, and in science we don't require faith. However, actually, science also requires faith. So, for example, if we consider the process of scientific growth of knowledge, the scientists, when they postulate the existence of some fundamental particle, now initially when they come up with that postulation, they have faith that such a particle exists. They have not seen that particle, they have not yet done any experiments that will indicate the existence of that particle. They simply at this stage accepting on the basis of faith that there might be such a particle. They're not having faith that the particle exists, but they're at least having faith in the possibility of the existence of such a particle. And then after having this faith, what is the next step that they do? They actually move forwards towards being watchful. They design controlled experiments in which they create conditions which would lead to some parameters which would point to the existence of that particle. And in order to ensure that no other factors come in and corrupt their observations, they control the environment. So that means while they are controlling the environment, they are being watchful. So science in the process of experimentation requires one to be faithful initially to start the experiment and watchful while doing the experiment, and then it becomes fruitful. They may realize that actually, oh, this particular particle does exist because this is what the control experiment has proven. So now spiritual life also involves something similar. We also need to practice spiritual life, and for that we need faithfulness. And Krishna tells in the Bhagavad-gita in the 4th chapter, 39th text, Shraddhava labhate jnanam tatparah sanyatendriyaha jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. So he says Shraddhaval, one who is faithful, labhate jnanam, such a person acquires knowledge. Tatparah sanyatendriyaha, that person also needs to be tatparaha, focused on that absolute truth, devoted to that absolute truth. Sanyatendriyaha, that person has regulated one's senses. Jnanam labdhva param shantim, and once one gets the jnana, then one will get param shanti, the supreme peace. And achirena adhigacchati, one will get it achirena, without much delay. Adhigacchati, one will attain that. So essentially what happens is that by the practice of bhakti, we move forwards and we move towards Krishna and we attain Krishna. So when we have to have Shraddha at that time, what is the faith? That there is some higher reality, that actually Krishna exists. This is the faith. And if Krishna is the source of all happiness, as the bhakti theory tells us, then the experiment is, if we practice bhakti yoga, then we will actually experience that higher reality, we will experience a higher purification, because Krishna is the supreme unchanging reality. Contact with him will give us security, will give us peace. So when we connect with Krishna, we experience this peace. So what we have to do is, this is the experiment which we have to do. So we first with the faith that there is some higher reality, and then while doing the experiment we need to be watchful. Watchful means we want to move our consciousness towards Krishna. Tatparaha we need to do, direct our consciousness towards Krishna, and therefore we need to purge from our consciousness those factors which will contaminate the consciousness, which will bring the consciousness down to the sensual level. They said there can be contaminants which interfere with the controlled experiment. Similarly, there can be contaminants which interfere with the controlled consciousness that is striving to move towards Krishna. And pertinently this verse says Sanyatendriyaha, we regulate our senses. So when we regulate our senses, then we are able to perceive that, oh, I'm not getting any sensual pleasure, and we are watchful in ensuring that sensual stimuli don't encroach into our consciousness. When we do this, then we will slowly observe that our consciousness becomes enriched with Krishna, with his sweetness, with his love, and we experience great peace, as the verse says, the peace that passeth all understanding, as the Bible says. It is sublime peace of absorption in Krishna. Jnanam labdva param shantim. So this, when it happens, when we experience a sublime peace and fulfillment that is not experienceable by any other method, then we understand that, oh, I have connected with Krishna, and Krishna exists for real in the laboratory of our consciousness, QED, quote erat demonstrandum. Krishna becomes vindicated as a higher reality. And thus, by cultivating the combination of faithfulness in pursuing a higher reality, even if it is invisible, and being watchful in protecting our consciousness from contaminating influences, we can attain, by the combination of being faithful and joyful, the fruit of by the combination of being faithful and watchful, we can attain the fruit of becoming joyful. We can attain the supreme fulfillment of love for Krishna and absorption in him. Thank you. Hare Krishna.